League One's playoff final takes place on Sunday. It's between Stockport County and Bolton Wanderers. This is Not the Top 20's playoff final preview, sponsored by Sky Bet and the Sky Bet EFL Building Foundations Fund. George Ellick.
Oh, hi, mate.
Ali Maxwell. Talking teams, managers, tactics, players, and some betting angles as well. This podcast, very strictly for over 18s, and betting comes with risks. So make sure you're aware of the risks. Head to gambleaware.org to brush up on them. Stockport Bolton. It's a good matchup. Let's be clear. I love how this game is set up. The more research and analysis I did about the teams individually, the less confident I was about what is going to happen in this game. George, there were only 2 points between them over the course of the 46-game season. Stockport scored 1 goal more. Bolton conceded 6 goals fewer. It's set up very nicely.
It is. And it's kind of a fun matchup between two teams with very, very different recent histories, but both kind of on their way up. You know, Bolton spent 10 seasons in the Premier League, finished what was the highest finish when they were there? 6th in the Premier League, you know, in all of our lifetimes. And I've only spent 2 seasons in the second tier in the last decade. And it's been a while since they were there. And they've had 2 playoff heartbreaks in that time, one in a semi-final defeat against Barnsley. We were there. And once in a playoff final defeat against Oxford. We were there. Against a Stockport team, Stockport County side, who had to get relegated into the National League and have come back a completely different force to what they were before. Came out of League Two in sparkling fashion after only 2 seasons at the level. Immediately became one of the best teams in League One, losing in the playoffs last season. And in Dave Challoner have this manager who's got this absurd record of never having finished outside the playoffs in, 15 seasons or something, going back to the Northern Premier League. Remarkable, consistent achievements from a manager. And again, Stockport County, a team where you know, their ceiling might be lower than Bolton Wanderers, but they have proven over the last 2 seasons that under Challoner, they are consistently one of the best teams in this league. So, you know, both clubs with a geographical relative proximity, both making the trip down from the kind of Greater Manchester area to come to Wembley. And, you know, 2 entertaining teams as well. Under Shuey and under Challoner, you've got 2 teams that like to play football, like to get the ball forward, have plenty of individual quality in their teams too. So, yes, it's going to be good.
So, Mark Stott is the owner of Stockport County. He bought the club in January 2020, just before COVID. And the club's success since then is hugely down to Stott. His vision for the club, his ambition, and his financing of it as well. But he is very keen to say that Simon Wilson played a big role. That Simon Wilson, who was at first director of football and then more recently CEO, that it was his strategic mind and planning that helped get them flying up the leagues, which they have done incredibly well. I think I'm right in saying that they had a 7-year plan to make the Championship from the National League at the time, so 3 promotions in 7 years. So if they achieve promotion this season, they will be ahead of schedule, which is quite remarkable execution of a 7-year plan. It's also Simon Wilson's, the end of his tenure at Stockport County. He's leaving the club, heavily reported to be joining Sheffield Wednesday to rebuild that football club. So it's a big game on that level. You know, Dave Challoner gets a lot of headlines, and rightly so. What an incredible manager he's been for the club, and what an incredible record he has, albeit not a very good one in the playoffs. But I think, you know, for the club, whether or not Challoner's there next season, there will be a feeling of great change, whether they go up or whether they stay in League One. And so this does feel like, I don't want to say they're on the precipice here, but I think next season Stockport County will look and feel a bit different in some ways. So quite a big game on that front. And I guess for Bolton fans, 5 years in League One, they finished, I think the lowest they finished is 9th. As you say, they've lost in the playoffs twice. You know, they've been knocking on the door, but not quite banging it down. And I think...
Just a little tap.
Yeah, tapping at the door pretty consistently. And I think it's probably quite hard to place your expectations if you're a Wanderers fan. Many of them will have grown up in the Premier League, but anyone that supported them, well, in the last 15 years, they've been an EFL team that's been in the Championship for 6 seasons in that time. in League One for now 7 seasons, and of course 1 season in League Two as well. So I get the sense that the Championship is where Bolton fans certainly think they deserve to be. The attendances over 20,000 would be Championship attendances, no doubt about that. It's a really, really interesting matchup. In terms of the regular season games, pretty interesting as well, I think. The first day of the season, or rather it was the Sunday, it was televised, I believe, was Stockport winning 2-0 at home to Bolton. But if you recall that game, Bolton were very good. And Stockport won 2-0 with 5 shots to Bolton's 15. Bolton took the game to Stockport at Stockport in a way that was pretty damn impressive. And if it wasn't for some great saves from Corey Adai and a couple of missed chances, that scoreline could have looked very different. When they played on Easter Monday at Bolton, it was another really good competitive game, both teams going for it. Bolton led, then Stockport led 2-1, and then Bolton equalised towards the end. So it's really hard to call this one. It's even quite hard to analyse and come down with a definitive view. I'm going to bring in some data and some stats here.
Whoa.
Now, I don't really like listing numbers, but I'm going to do it for effect, right? And the reason that I'm doing this is to paint a picture of just how similar these teams are. And that is both from a performance point of view, but also from a stylistic point of view. Give you an idea of that this game is going to basically be 2 teams probably going at it and doing so with some similar methods. Bolton, over the course of the season, much the better side, or significantly better, I'd say, per performance metrics. That's expected goals for and expected goals against. But the way they profile as teams is very interesting. And there's a few things that have happened over the last month or two that mean what they've done over the course of the season isn't necessarily who they are right now heading into this game. So with all the following stats, Bolton will be the first team that I mentioned and Stockport the second. The idea is to paint a picture of how close these 2 teams are. In terms of non-penalty XG, Bolton second, Stockport 5th. Shots, Bolton second, Stockport 4th. Shots on target, second and third. Conversion rate, this is big. Bolton the 5th worst, Stockport the 7th best. Bolton take a lot of shots from range. Stockport more interested in creating better opportunities for themselves. In terms of build-up style, 10 plus pass sequences across the course of the season in League One, Bolton first, Stockport third. Passes per sequence on average, Bolton second, Stockport 4th. Build-up attacks, those are attacks created through sort of steady controlled possession. Bolton second, Stockport third. Direct attacks, the ability to play forward quickly and create chances from that or shots at goal from that. Bolton first, Stockport second. So really good attacking teams, varied attacking teams, different ways to hurt you. Bolton, the higher possession team, the more total passes, but Stockport, more passes inside the final third, suggests that they've been much better at actually getting into dangerous situations more quickly and having better territory, whereas Bolton probably holding onto the ball as much for a defensive reasoning as anything else, and defensively they have been very good this season. Defensively, Bolton's non-penalty XG against was the best in League One, and Stockport's with the 10th best. Shots faced, Bolton the fewest, Stockport the 8th fewest. Shots on target faced, Bolton the fewest, Stockport the 13th fewest. So Stockport certainly leakier over the course of the season. Aerial duels won, I like this. Bolton second, Stockport first in terms of aerial duel win percentage. PPDA, which is a measure of pressing, Bolton 4th, Stockport 7th. High turnovers, the result of good pressing, Bolton 7th, Stockport 9th. Errors that lead to shots and errors that lead to goals, Stockport worse than Bolton on both of those metrics. They've had more errors at the back, which have led to opposition chances. Set pieces, you can't really split them. Bolton 14-4, 12 against for a +2 goal difference. Stockport 17-4, 16 against for a +1 goal difference. That's basically the end of the stats, so you can breathe a sigh of relief. But there's another really fun way they are similar, George. They both have star-wide players, X-factor individuals for this level, Louis Barry and Mario Cozier Dewberry. And although they have plenty of ways of attacking, both of them will be thinking, can we get the ball to Barry with Osei 2-2 1v1? Can we get the ball to Cozier Dewberry with Teo Eden 1v1? If you look at League One players who have done carries or dribbles that have ended with a shot, we're looking at number 1 and number 2 in the league. And for those carries that ended with a chance created for a teammate, 9th and 11th in the league. These two are very, very exciting players.
Is that per 90?
Per 90,
okay,
yeah. Obviously, Barry's only played
I
434 minutes,
right,
so I had to tweak the criteria a bit for that one.
He's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels 2 kind of possible stars on the pitch at the same time. and will be playing on the same side as well, because obviously Barry playing off the left-hand side and Cozy Duber on the right. So they're going to be literally up against each other, which is quite fun. And
the defensive work rate of both will be crucial.
It wouldn't be a surprise at all if one of them ends up being the difference maker in this. Both players, Barry's ability is nothing new for us. We've been talking about it for a few seasons. Had a tough time at Sheffield United in the first half of the campaign, but I would be ignoring that. If Stockport do go up this season, if they win this game, Louis Barry, I'm pretty sure is going to light up the Championship next season in a Stockport shirt. And Cozy Duber has had a magnificent loan and lit up the playoff semi-final. Two players who have, not only they're good players, not only can they beat a man and they're very talented, but they have that ability to score the mirror image goal of each other. That classic inside forward goal where the defenders just seem powerless to stop them from driving inside, getting the ball on their favoured foot and bending it into the far corner. They've both done it so many times. They both did it in the playoff semi-finals, and it would be no shock if one of them did it this time.
Absolutely. So I like to try and work out team selection. One thing that's important to mention here, you'll have heard me bang on a lot about Kyle Wootton. Second top scorer in League One this season. Probably the premier target man at the top of the pitch in League One this season, is now Stockport centre-back. He's been there for best part of 10 games and he's been absolutely brilliant. And I would absolutely love another dominant centre-back display from a player that has literally never played centre-back before. I think it's the most incredible thing about a sport where you could have a guy, think of all the training sessions and how they are split between defensive units, attacking units, all of your personal development and training built around the position that you play, which as a striker is so different to as a centre-back playing, maybe as part of the partnership, but maybe up top on your own versus in defence. How importantly you combine with your other centre-back is as crucial as what you do individually in your individual duels. Wootton and Pye have been brilliant together, and wouldn't it be amazing, an amazing individual story if Stockport win promotion with Kyle Wootton at centre-back. But Bolton have a good target man as well, Sam Dalby, and he really had a good period in the team sort of in the middle part of the season. He missed a couple of weeks through injury. He came off the bench in both semi-finals, and I wonder if they might stick with Burstow up top or if maybe Dalby will come back in for Burstow. Johnny Kenny is out injured, and Kenny and Dalby were a great partnership with Kenny's pace and Dalby's hold-up play. But without Kenny there, and with Ruben Rodriguez playing in a number 10 role, but in a very different way to Kenny as a second striker, it'll be interesting to see what Schumacher does on that front. For Bolton, bad news in the second leg was Owen Toll, their captain and centre-back, hobbling off with what looked like a hamstring injury. They're obviously keeping their cards close to their chest there, but a hamstring tweak like that, it's so impactful for how you can move, how you can defend, particularly with the pace that Stockport have up front. I would guess that Toll won't play in this game. What it means is that George Johnston, who's a centre-back by trade but has been playing left-back for them, will slide across and play next to Chris Farino at the back, and Max Conway, who's a young left-back, will come in and play left-back with Jordan Osei-Tutu at right-back, Jack Bonham in goal. Should say Osei-Tutu was hobbling at the end of that game as well, but I'm going to predict that he starts this game. Midfield of Josh Sheehan and Ethan Erhahon is a lovely combo at this level. Sheehan, the ball progressor, Erhahon, I've just pronounced his name differently twice in a row. That's pretty standard stuff.
I've said his name, I reckon, 50 times in my life, and every time I've done it differently.
Yeah.
So.
He's a real ratter, very aggressive, strong in the tackle. And then you've got Cozy Duber off the right, Sissoko off the left, proper X-Factor match winners, dribblers. Ruben Rodriguez, number 10, who's had a big moment at Wembley before, an amazing assist for Oxford against Bolton a couple of years ago.
One okay. And
then, either Burstow or Dalby up front. I'm not sure what Shuey will do there. Stockport is 4-3-3 on paper. It's Dacres Cogley, who they signed from Bolton in January. That's a bit of a narrative. It's Teo Eden at left back with Wootton and Pye, the centre backs. Pye, one of the premier young centre backs in the EFL. I think he's 22, 23 years old. Ollie Norwood, one of the great EFL players of the last decade. He's the deepest midfielder, will get on the ball as much as possible and play raking long passes, ideally into the feet of Louis Barry. Eden, I should mention as well, the left back, he's kind of their second ball progressor from deep. He played in midfield when he was younger. He's a very tidy player on the ball. He's important to try and stop having a lot of time on the ball as well. Ben Osborne and Odin Bailey will be number 8s, and Osborne on the left will combine with Barry out wide and Eden the left back. Bailey will drift out to the right and combine with Josh Stokes, who play right wing, and Dakers Cogley as well, the right back. And up top, Adama Sidibe, who's an amazing story. They signed him from St Johnstone in January. It wasn't very long ago that he was playing for Warrington Rylands, not a million miles away from is it not a million miles away from Stockport? I'm guessing a bit there. My geography's not great.
I think that's, yeah.
Well, a million miles is a lot.
It's not a million miles away.
Literally correct.
Yeah, Warrington nearer Leeds than Manchester.
And off the bench, both teams have quite good options at the top of the pitch. Stockport have Olafe, Diamond, Brecky Anderson, Mothersill. Not much depth off the bench in midfield or defence. I would say Bolton possibly have an advantage off the bench, but I say all that to say, George, I really, really don't know how this game's going to play out. And it actually makes my betting pick easier.
That's good.
Because I could see this going all the way. And I generally don't think that extra time for me these days, anecdotally, feels like it generally just kind of plays out with everyone absolutely exhausted.
Yeah.
So I'm backing with Sky Bet, Stockport and Bolton to go to penalties at 13-2 penalties in the League One playoff final.
Yes, I'm kind of looking at it a similar way. I think it's going to be really tight. It's going to be so hot. It's going to be 29 degrees and sunshine, and it's a 1 o'clock kickoff. So we're basically playing not far off the midday sun.
Wow.
It's going to be roasting. I think Bolton are marginally the better team here, and the market has it so marginal. I think there might be a squeak of value in them. But because I think it's going to be tight and because I think it's going to be low scoring, it's 100-30 that Bolton win by a solitary goal. So you're looking at 1-0 and 2-1 basically there. If it's 3-2, I've got lucky.
Yeah.
And that is the way that I think I'll play this. And it's going to be a brilliant, it's going to be very tight, I think. And interesting, intriguing. I haven't got a strong fancy, but that's the bet I'd have. Okay,
there you go. Warrington, 20 miles from Stockport. So I'm pretty happy overall.
Yeah.
Pretty happy overall.
I really wanted to cut that bit because I got it really wrong.
That's okay. Don't worry. One of us was going to.
Yeah.
And it just happened to be you this time.
Okay.
Maybe we'll cut it. Maybe we won't. Thank you for listening to this Sky Bet League One playoff final preview, sponsored by Sky Bet and the Sky Bet EFL Building Foundations Fund. The same for the Championship and for League Two, wherever you found this one. Cheers and go well.